This is Daily Armenia, ＳivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. The US and Armenia-based company Firebird opened its AI factory in the central Armenian town of Hrazdan on Saturday, launching the $500 million first phase of a project that the company says could ultimately involve $4 billion in investment in Armenia. The facility uses NVIDIA computing chips and Dell Technologies infrastructure and is being presented as the largest AI factory in the CIS region. Firebird plans to expand the Armenian operation to more than 70,000 NVIDIA Blackwell and Vera Rubin GPUs and 300 megawatts of AI infrastructure capacity by the end of 2027. The project has moved at remarkable speed. Firebird announced Phase 1 in June 2025, while a second phase was unveiled in February during U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance's visit. The facility was constructed in just over 6 months, with executives crediting the Armenian government with helping to accelerate the project. The government provided support including customs duty exemptions for eligible imported equipment and measures to expedite permitting. In a video address, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said AI infrastructure is becoming as fundamental to the economy as electricity and the internet. Every company and every country must build its own AI. No nation can outsource all of its intelligence, Huang said. The project has faced criticism over environmental oversight and concerns about water and electricity consumption. However, Armenia's high-tech ministry says Firebird uses a closed-loop cooling system, in which the same coolant is circulated rather than continuously consumed, requiring a water change only once every few years. The facility also does not use the large evaporative cooling towers found at some conventional data centers, which can be a significant source of mechanical noise. Electricity remains a more substantial infrastructure issue, as Firebird's planned 300 megawatts of capacity would represent a major increase in industrial power demand. Speaking at the opening, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan tied the project directly to the August 2025 White House summit, saying the AI memorandum signed with US President Donald Trump had produced this tangible result. He described that moment as a turning point for Armenia and said the subsequent peace process was taking the country's economic and investment environment to a whole new level. The project is intended to give Armenia a foothold in the regional AI infrastructure market while building domestic computing capacity. It will be further enhanced with Firebird's expansion into Kazakhstan, where a 125 megawatt facility is under construction. United States officials over the weekend marked the one-year anniversary of the trilateral summit between Pashinyan, Trump, and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev. Trump held separate phone calls with Pashinyan and Aliyev. The Armenian government said they discussed the implementation of the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity, or TRIPP, and that real peace had been achieved between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan's readout said Trump and Aliyev discussed trade and strengthening Washington-Baku relations. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also called the August 2025 summit a historic breakthrough. He said Trump had secured peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan and highlighted TRIPP, the planned transit route through Armenia's southern Sunik province connecting Azerbaijan with its Nakhichevan exclave. Rubio also announced that the Trans-Caspian Enterprise Fund is now operating with $201 million in U.S. government funding. The fund is intended to support private sector investment along the Middle Corridor, the trade route linking Central Asia and Europe through the South Caucasus. Pashinyan and Aliyev also spoke by phone on Saturday. Both sides said they discussed progress on normalization and implementation of agreements reached at the Washington summit. The peace treaty itself, however, remains unsigned. The leaders only initialed the treaty text in Washington, while Aliyev continues to demand Armenia change its constitution in a nationwide referendum before signing. In addition, border delimitation has seen little progress since a single case in 2024. Meanwhile, some economic links between Armenia and Azerbaijan have begun to develop. On Saturday, more than 1,000 tons of wheat and 700 tons of coal were transported from Russia to Armenia by rail through Azerbaijan, adding to the growing number of shipments along the route, including Azerbaijani fuel deliveries that began in November 2025. Every weekend, CivilNet brings you a roundup of Armenia's biggest business headlines. In this edition, the Armenian government has approved measures to borrow a total of about $346 million from the World Bank and Asian Development Bank, earmarked for supporting efforts to liberalize trade, promote international investments, and boost capital markets. In related news, Armenian banks have restructured nearly $82 million in existing loans to local farmers, as Russia's ongoing restrictions on trade with the country continue to take a toll. Finally, Armenia's central bank kept interest rates unchanged at 6.5%, citing heightened levels of geopolitical uncertainty and a significant increase in global energy prices. For more on these stories, check out the broadcast at the link in this video's description. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 53. That's the number of votes Aram Vardavanyan of the opposition Strong Armenia Party received today to become the third deputy speaker of Armenia's parliament. The post is reserved for the opposition under Armenia's parliamentary rules and went to Strong Armenia as the largest opposition force to emerge from the June elections. The National Assembly has 105 members, so 53 is the minimum number of votes required to pass. The ruling Civil Contract Party provided 13 of those votes in order to ensure the position could be filled. Vardavanyan served as defense attorney for Strong Armenia leader Samvel Karapetyan and also represented the party in its unsuccessful challenge of the June election results. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.